I'm no one. Hear me out. I'm here to talk to you, or rather share my frustrations with you, about the future. When I was a small child, still in preschool, I'd often get asked what I wanted to be when I grew up. All the other children would answer with things such as dancer, singer, actor, all these amazing, ambitious professions. And I'd really struggle, because I didn't know. In my mind, those are all things that adults did, and since I wasn't an adult yet, I didn't have to worry. And over the years, that question came back time and time again. We all grew up, began having specific interests, and now, in high school, where I am, people have decided, and those ambitions haven't left them. And though I too have interests, I still don't know the answer to who do you want to be when you grew up. I'm sure many of you have felt the same way, not knowing what you will become, not knowing what you can become. I have thought about this a lot, perhaps more than I ought to, and I simply cannot see myself in the future like some other people can. The theme of this event has made me extremely hyper-aware of the further future, not just what I will study or which university I will go to, but the bigger picture of what my life will become after studying, after this part of my life is over. Because right now, for me, that bigger picture is extremely hard to see. I wondered about why that may be, and I think it's because you don't hear many stories like this. You only hear about the people who have come to the top with their amazing ambition. This is what they call survivor bias, assuming something is one way when only hearing from the people who have succeeded, who have survived, who have become someone well off enough for you to hear about them. And that brings me again to my opening. For now, it doesn't look like I'm that someone, that survivor. For now, it looks like I'm no one. I don't seem to have that striking ambition that all those people have. And though I too am good at things, there came a time when I realized that there was always going to be somebody better, even in the subjects that I tried the hardest on and loved the most. Perhaps there'll be someone who wanted it just a little bit more, but had a whole lot more ability. Or worse, someone who didn't care to have it, but was better still. And when I realized this, I stopped thinking about my future, and I started worrying. Because what happens to the people like me? To the nobodies, to the men whose names should have been cellophane, like in that one musical, or to the nowhere men from that Beatles song, to the students that the teachers don't think of years after, and in the present struggle to remember the names of? What happens to us? The more I tried to find the answer to this question, the more answers I found to every other question about myself but this one. I knew what I didn't want to happen to me. I knew who I didn't want to become, but I didn't know much more than that. In fact, I don't even know how low I am now. That is my biggest fear, that I'm not as good as I think I am, that I don't even know the starting point from which I will attempt to climb. And by now you must be thinking, God, this is not what I signed up for. TED Talks are meant to be uplifting and inspirational, and this is just depressing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, students, confused like me, if you came here for answers, I'm going to have to disappoint you, because I truly have none. I really don't know where life will take me. I really don't know what I'll become, and I really don't know how I'll survive without that one teacher remembering me and telling little anecdotes about my work. And, you know, at some point, I thought that this would be all I would be able to say. As unlikely as it may seem, there may be a small element of positivity to all of this, a different way to look at this. In my spare time, I like listening to different debates and arguments and hearing out different opinions. And having recently rewatched last year's mock debate on political correctness, I was reminded of a quote by Bertrand Russell, a famous British philosopher of whom I'm sure you've all heard of, wrote up by Stephen Fry. And this is it. One of the painful things about our time is that those who feel certainty are stupid, and those with any imagination and understanding are filled with doubt and indecision. let doubt prevail. Though I am perhaps taking this quote slightly out of context, maybe even making it fit a narrative it was never supposed to fit, it does calm me about my uncertainties about the future. Perhaps I'm not wrong in questioning my future and looking into things such as survivor bias. Perhaps being sure of that medical or dancing career isn't the way forward for everyone. Maybe we need some people who are unsure. Maybe, just maybe, that's the way forward. Stephen Fry, I'm sorry. This may be no glimmering, sparkling quote of positivity that you were expecting to hear today, or even have heard before this, but it is something that I, a skeptic of sorts, can find value in without thinking that it is completely and utterly unjustified. Stephen Fry, in that debate, urged us, among other things, not to be too certain. And so, though I would still likely be irked by the nagging urgency of that question, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'll try to think, I'll try to learn, I'll try to do my best with feelings of inferiority and insecurity, perhaps even jealousy and anxiety, I'm sure, but with that positive, engaging, passionate doubt that I heard being spoken of. And so, students, I urge you to do the same, not only to worry about how much you may relate to that Beatles song, or how similar you may seem to that hopeless character from your favorite TV show or film, but to consider such things with an air of curiosity and to live on somehow, always doubting exactly who you will become. I think you should allow yourself to be no one for a while before you become someone that you can truly find value in. Thank you.